morning and welcome to Devotional for Dads. All you dads out there, we just want to say how much we appreciate you. We want to acknowledge you. We love you. Thank you for doing what you're doing in loving and leading your kids in Jesus and to Jesus. So let's keep on doing that. Today we're going to explore tip number 3 from Psalm 23, the latter part of verse 2, where it says, He leads me beside still waters. Another translation would say, He leads me beside quiet waters. I want us to know that's just so powerful. That's just amazing because, see, sheep by nature have a morbid fear of running waters. And the shepherd is very sensitive towards the struggles and the fears that the sheep have, that he leads them beside still waters or quiet waters. Aren't you glad that you have a shepherd that is so caring, that is so sensitive to you and me, but he leads us beside the quiet waters, and the still waters, so that we can have rest from the struggles and the fears. He leads us into places of spiritual rest. Now, what is spiritual rest? Spiritual rest is a calmness and confidence in who God is and in what he is able and capable of doing in our life, so we can enjoy what God has provided for us. So we can enjoy in the midst of the struggles, the surrounding, the season, the situation, we can enjoy God. You see, there are a lot of things that cause us struggle and stress, not just to us as adults, but also to kids. And sometimes we may think, what struggles do kids have? What stress do kids have? They're not adults. But the reality is that while they may not have struggles and stresses in the magnitude that you and I as adults may sometimes experience, kids do have struggles. Kids do have stresses that they go through. And there are three things always, whether you're an adult or you're a kid, there are three things that always contributes towards struggles and stresses in anyone's life. The first thing is, the pressures of life. Life constantly gets so busy and so demanding and filled with sometimes so deadlines. And think in a world where everything is online right now, online learning, online schooling, and there can be a lot of demand on the kids, a lot of pressure on the kids, in regard to their academics, in regard to their performances, in regard to many things that is demanded of the children today. And we need to be sensitive about that. And sometimes it's not just, if it's not the pressures, then it's sometimes the people around us. Now, we know as adults that sometimes most of the stresses and struggles in our life can be caused by the people around us, and sometimes it's the case even with kids, because they too have friends. And even though sometimes maybe they are just hanging out with their friends virtually, they're hanging out with their friends, maybe even online, talking or chatting, the reality is that sometimes they get upset with one another. Sometimes they can have misunderstandings with one another and agitations with one another, and that can cause a lot of struggle and a lot of stress, based on the personality and the nature of children as well. And so we need to understand that. And then sometimes just the problems of life. Kids too have the problems in a kid's level as well. They too have struggles and problems that they may face on the inside of them, fears that they may have, and so therefore we need to understand the importance and the power of teaching them to have rest in Jesus. Just imagine how powerful it would be if from a very young age we could show our kids in the way we respond to our struggles, that there is something called spiritual rest in the midst of the struggles, despite the struggles, that they don't have to worry and be afraid, because they have a shepherd that leads them beside quiet waters. They have a shepherd who is God himself and who is able and capable to lead them into things despite what they are going through, to have confidence in the good shepherd. I just pray that we as dads would show them that, would talk to them about the importance of it. One of the things that Tammy and myself do, with both our boys, whether it's about studies or whether it's sometimes my youngest son sometimes playing games virtually with his friends sometimes, and what can happen is sometimes they have their own struggles, and in those moments we take time to bring them close to us and to sometimes hug them and to talk to them and to assure them. One of the things I found out that there's sometimes a lot of teenagers they are worried about their studies. They are very intelligent, very smart, very good in their studies, and sometimes even though they get good grades, they feel it's still not enough, and they allow the pressure to get to them, and they lose peace, they lose sleep over it. And in those moments, it's so important for us to assure our children, what, do the best you can do, but to assure them and to remind them, the importance of setting God before them. The psalmist said in Psalm 16 verse 8, I set the Lord before me, and therefore I will not be afraid. Why? Because it's to set the Lord before you means is to remind yourself of who God is. It's to remind yourself that God is the one who is in control of the outcome in our life. And we need to teach our children as little as they are. And they're in the best place and position to grasp it because they have childlike faith. And so, dads, let's, where we are, be sensitive to the struggles of your children. Don't brush them aside. Don't think it's not important enough. Their struggles too matter. So whatever the sources of their struggles may be, would you teach them to put God before them and to have a right view of God, and remind them of the power of God, and show them that no matter what their struggles are, Jesus is in control, and Jesus will always be there for them and lead them in the very best for them to experience and enjoy. So God bless you once again. I'll see you again tomorrow. Praying for you all. Love you all. Go impact your children, your generation. Our God is a God of generations, and may we think of our generations and raise our children in the fear of the Lord. God bless you all.